Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Kirschner, President of the Sunday County Commissioners Association. Holly Stacy is here, Commissioners. This is a special meeting for the Sunday County Commissioners to talk about State Issue 1. I will call the meeting to order. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Nikki, would you like to take roll call, please?
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Okay, so the primary focus, or the only focus today, will be on State Issue 1. It's a press conference to be held for elected officials and department heads in Seneca County. The first speaker today will be Executive Director of the Mental Health District, the three-county district, including Seneca County, Mayor Shu Henry.
Good morning. I will speak on State Issue 1, more from the Mental Health Recovery Service Board perspective and the Seneca County Opioid Task Force, how this can impact, again, the board, the people we represent. Pretty short, as you guys know, we are trying to really help people struggle with drug addiction through providing treatment and recovery support services. I will start with one that really shows you the concerns of the boards in Ohio. Our board association, who represents 48 out of 50 boards in Ohio, are opposing Issue 1, even if we are the ones that apparently might receive the 70% of the funding that, if this will pass, will be given to treatment in the state of Ohio. So again, it just shows you the concern of the boards, knowingly. I'm not sure if I know organizations in the past, knowing that they're going to get more money, oppose an issue. Boards in Ohio know we're going to get, or possibly could get more funding, and we're opposing Issue 1. It's a really red flag. Treatment, I want to share a little bit about our treatment outcomes. As you again probably know and are aware of, when it comes to treatment from drug addiction, the outcomes are not very good. However, our best outcomes are for people in the legal system. So we truly believe that people in the legal system that are forensically motivated to follow up with treatment, to follow up with recovery supports, do have a better outcomes. And this is not just our opinion, but this is a fact. When we look at Seneca County, as of today, I would say that I think 100% of our residents who are doing well in the recovery houses that we own and operate in our district are forensically motivated or heading to the legal system. We have done tremendous work with the local judicial system, including the sheriff, the judges, prosecutors' office, local law enforcement, to ensure that we can implement programs to people who are in the criminal justice system or who are legally charged or in the legal system. A few years ago, in 2014, we created the Seneca County Opioid Task Force. And really, the reason we created this is because people in our community were dying. We got together again with the leaders in our county to see how we can help or partner with the legal system to help these people with their treatment and hope for better outcomes. We have accomplished a lot of things, I would say, since 2014, but I would like to highlight a few that we are, again, very concerned that our efforts can diminish if this will pass. One of those goals was, or accomplishment, is the PV drug court here in Seneca County with the local judges, with Oriana House, the treatment provider, to help people in the legal system and offer them treatment as soon as they are being released, and Vivitrol and medication assisted treatment and recovery housing to ensure better outcomes. So far in Seneca County, I will tell you that the best outcomes we had is through the PV drug recovery program. This can really be concerning if Issue 1 will pass. I will let the sheriff talk more about what we do in jail, but we have partnered with the sheriff for the last few years to ensure that people, once they are incarcerated in the local jail, will have access to treatment immediately and not wait for them to be released, but actually have funding have services in the local jail. Another thing, talking with the people that we represent and talking with parents who lost somebody from drug addiction, it's interesting that people who are doing well in our community are opposing issue 1. We talk to people who are in the criminal justice system, were sent to prison or to the local jail, and were put in some programs. Really, that is what turned their life around. If you know much about an addict who is at their lowest point, oftentimes they just cannot make common sense decisions on their own. When we deal with people who we want to put into detox or want to make sure we get them away from drugs, very rare we have an individual who's not in the criminal justice system who says, I need help, and I'm going to go tomorrow morning to this facility, and I'm going to complete the 7 days, and I'm going to come out and do the program. Very rare we have that, just because we believe the drugs in their system don't allow them to make common sense decisions. It's a different story now when you have somebody who's being charged, maybe goes in front of the municipal court judge and saying, okay, well, you're going to spend the next 10 days in jail. I'm going to talk to you after 10 days, and we're going to talk about treatment options. Unfortunately, that is what so far gave us better outcomes. So when people say the jail is not the answer for drug addicted individuals, I'm not saying it's the answer, but it's an option that I think we should have on the table. Not so much to punish the drug addict, but to save their lives. We need that, I believe, to keep them alive. Another point I would really like to cover today is data. We hear a lot of arguments that, well, Ohio is already the worst. We already lose more lives in Ohio than in any other state in the United States. I will tell you the 2018 data for Seneca County is very promising and has lower numbers in 2016 and lower numbers in 2017. Now, I do know they will still have 2 more months going into this year, but we are projecting, and so far it's looking very promising. And I think this is because of the lack of local efforts between the judicial system and the treatment system to make sure individuals get help. I will finish by summarizing Seneca County Opiate Task Force resolution and view on issue 1. This constitutional amendment would mandate the criminal offenses of obtaining, possession, or using any drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and so on, be classified only misdemeanor. This constitutional amendment will prohibit jail time as a sentence for obtaining, possession, or using such drugs until an individual's 3rd offense within 24 months. Seneca County Opiate Task Force believes that this constitutional amendment will absolutely make Ohio an attraction hub for drug dealers, diminish the effective treatment efforts in the local courts, overcrowd the local municipal court with misdemeanor cases, and put the ones who break the law ahead of rehabilitation and well-being of innocent victims or drug-addicted individuals. The Seneca County Opiate Task Force has worked tirelessly over the last 3 years towards creating a safe, drug-free community while helping the people struggling with drug addiction and prosecuting the drug traffickers. Our course probation officers, treatment providers, and other local agencies understand that often having jail or prison time as an option helps individuals seeking remaining treatment. Our goal is to save lives and help every drug addict individual recover and be a productive citizen of our community. We firmly oppose issue 1. I think that will conclude what I wanted to highlight today. If you guys have questions afterwards, I can probably answer some questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mitch. To emphasize how strongly we are opposed and to talk about this issue further, we are honored to have with us today Representative Bill Reineke, our state representative in the State House. Bill, you have a few words?
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here today. I do lend my opposition to issue 1. I believe that we have some really good things in place in Seneca County, and this would be a detriment to our local citizenry and to the state of Ohio. First of all, we have a drug court in Seneca County, which we should be very proud of. It's really not well known, and we need to make sure that people know about that. We had Justice Mary DeNiro in town the other day, along with our law enforcement and our judges. Our judges should be commended for the program that they put together to help low-level drug offenders. They know best how to handle this in our law enforcement. We need to support the sheriff and the city police and our judges in the way that these things should be handled, along with our other elected officials, judges. Another thing that concerns me is this is being funded by people from out of state. How do they know how best that we should handle our own city and our state? And I would recommend that we vote no on issue 1. This is a big problem. We would become a haven for drug dealers. It would cause more deaths. We've been able to, through our Murcha and his group, our task force has done a really good job with keeping people from dying. We have a low death level county-wise compared to other areas of the state. And we need to make sure that we continue to do those things that help our citizens the best. I would strongly urge a no vote on issue 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Reineke. Representing the Sunny County Commissioners, my esteemed fellow Commissioner Howard Stacy.
Good morning. I truly think that the scariest thing about this Halloween is to think about the potential passage of issue 1. A brief overview. Issue 1 puts forth some very lofty goals. Many believe we should divert non-violent drug offenders from incarceration to treatment, for example. And many believe that money spent for incarceration could be better spent on treatment. But issue 1 goes much further than simply stating these such goals. It adds 1,901 words to the Ohio Constitution that would have far-reaching effect on Ohio and the felony laws, and that opponents believe will have major negative consequences for the state. The #1 complaint of Ohio employers is that they can't find workers who can pass the drug test. We've been hearing this for years. If issue 1 passes, it will compound that problem. Ohio already has a significant workforce problem which threatens to sap the state's economic strength and growth, we know. Our development efforts will fail if would-be Ohio employers can't find the workers they need. Issue 1 would severely compound that problem by saying to the users and potential users, especially young people, that having and using drugs is officially sanctioned by the state constitution. If issue 1 were to pass, Ohio would be an island of permissiveness in the Midwest, with far more liberal drug laws than our neighboring states have. Those laws would cause drug dealers seeking a low risk of punishment to pour into our state. Regrettably, they're going to pass real businesses, the kind that employ workers, on their way out. Issue 1 would require shortening of prison sentences up to 25% for felonies, with certain exceptions for inmates who participate in rehabilitative activity, work, or education. Proponents talk most about the changes in the drug law, but issue 1's greatest effect will potentially be felt in the release of thousands of convicted felons, many of whom have committed violent crimes into society well short of their original prison terms. Crimes committed by those eligible for early release under issue 1 would include armed robbery, vehicular homicide, arson, burglary of inhabited dwellings, drug trafficking, domestic violence offenses, and child pornography offenses. That's because this section would apply to all felonies, not just drug felonies, with the exception of individuals who are serving sentences of death or life without possibility of parole, and individuals serving sentences for murder, rape, or child molestation. To be eligible for a 25% sentence reduction, inmates would have only to participate in beneficial activities rather than to complete them or graduate from them. The prison system under the amendment could, but is not required to, give an extra 30 days off sentences for program completion. One other thing I'd like to highlight is that issue 1, if passed, as I said, would become part of the Ohio Constitution, where it can only be changed through the long process and a return to the electorate for approval. I'm sure you're going to hear from many others yet this morning that are going to highlight other disadvantages to see a passage of issue 1. I encourage all, for the sake of our county and the state of Ohio, to vote no on issue 1.
Thank you, Commissioner Stacy. I would like to recognize law enforcement who are here today. Chief of Police from Fostoria, Steve Moran, Chief of Police from Tiffin, Fred Stevens, and now I would ask Sheriff of Seneca County, the Huckleberry, to say a few words.
Good morning. Without a doubt, those who are drug dependent need to receive treatment to rid themselves of it. But reclassifying certain offenses, drug offenses from felonies to misdemeanors can only send a signal to the drug dealers that Ohio is an open territory to come in and spread their poison. Words of deterrent not to commit the crimes can only result in additional arrests if issue 1 is passed because it removes the risk of jail time on first and second offenses within 24 months. However, the fact of the matter is, without the possibility of jail time, some who will not enter into a program to a path to change their life towards recovery. Issue 1 will remove this tool from the judge's toolbox. Over the years, those in public safety have watched the drug of choice change, and when it did, we made adjustments on how to confront it, and we will continue to do so. Some adjustments we've made in the jail: mental health counselors, medication-assisted treatment, reentry help, faith-based programs, and the ability to continue their education by getting their high school diploma or GED are currently available to all those in jail, and those programs continue once they are released. Numerous times, jail staff have informed me that they've come across an individual on the street who have thanked them for the help they received while in jail because of the programs they got started on while in custody. Recently, we completed a federal grant composed of a team from mental health field, 2 universities, and law enforcement to address these issues and come up with a plan of action. Because of the success of that grant, we've applied for a second federal grant that will help us put that plan into action. And it will span for 2 years, giving us the opportunity to provide much needed assistance to those in need to help break that cycle. At times when adjustments were needed to help those suffering with drug addiction, we have made them. Issue 1 is not the adjustment needed. Please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Someone else who's on the front lines is our county prosecutor, Gary Devine. Prosecutor Devine, for a couple of words.
Good morning, everybody. The Seneca County Prosecutor's Office is opposed to State Issue 1. The Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association is opposed to State Issue 1. The reasons you've heard, Commissioner Stacy laid those out very eloquently. When I started prosecuting as an assistant in 1994, the arguments that I would make for somebody being held in jail while they're charged awaiting trial generally involved that they were a danger to our community. Now, my assistant prosecutors go to court, and the argument they make more frequently than that is that the person charged with the crime is a danger to himself or herself because of their opioid addiction. State Issue 1 does not solve any of the problems we have. It only compounds those problems and makes it worse. Making possession of heroin, cocaine, fentanyl a misdemeanor diminishes that crime and makes it the way we treat marijuana these days. Some states have legalized marijuana. But minimizing it, making it a misdemeanor, minimizes the way our society treats that drug. And it should remain and be a felony. We don't prosecute, our judges don't sentence people to prison for low-level possession of drugs. It just doesn't happen. Those people are afforded treatment, they're given opportunities. And as the sheriff said, and as common sense will tell you, when somebody is addicted, their mind doesn't allow them to say, I need help. What helps them get to that place where they can say, I need help, is the threat of incarceration. And that gives them the motivation they need to stay out of jail, to get treatment, and they get to the place where they can recover from their addiction. Strongly encourage everyone to vote no on state issue 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Prosecutor Juan. There was one particular issue regarding issue 1 that I don't think has been covered, and that has been the fact that the state of Ohio has said, or the people, proponents, if you will, of issue 1 are saying that this money that will be saved in the prison systems by releasing them 25% earlier than the sentence calls for would save the state in the range of $100 million. And of course, that money would come back to the counties to take care of the problem of releasing these folks early. That doesn't happen. The savings that may occur will certainly be absorbed in the state budget, and the counties will then be responsible for the rehab and the jail time that will occur because of the fact that these folks are released early in the community. Just as a side note here, I have Mr. John Davoli from Council of Governors, and there is a mock debate regarding the gubernatorial race. Is that correct? Coming up when, John?
Monday at 9:30 at North Central Academy.
Would you like to come up here and introduce the participants in the debate?
I can have them come up and introduce themselves.
All right. Folks, come on up.
See your,
Mr. Wine, Mr. Corey, Laura Ingram, Mr. Tom Lemon.
Mr. Lemons here. Fox News and CNN.
Hello, my name is Tyreek Hyde. I'm a student at North Central Academy, and in the mock debate, I'm portraying Don Lemon from CNN News.
You know, can you give us a little piece? What do you like to say?
Hating on Laura Ingram through the debate a little bit. It was basically when interviewing DeWine and Cordray, we asked them questions about issue 1, how they feel about it. We asked about how their feelings are towards school funding, and sorry, Mr. Bully is really that's really all I can remember. That's not a script in front of me.
I thought maybe you were going to go into character for it.
Well, in that case, I was thinking, well, these days, I want to turn on stage 1 is a very sensitive topic right now. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm very sorry.
That was excellent.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Baumgartner. I'm also a student at NCA, and I portray Laura Ingram from Fox News.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Mason. I am also a North Central Academy student, and I'll be playing Richard Cordray at the mock debate at North Central Academy.
Hi everyone, I am Alex Amory and I am portraying Mike Dorn. I go to North Central Academy.
Mike Dorn finally hit puberty though.
Hey, I'm sorry. It was a small joke. Oh wait, there I go again.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions from the participants of any of the presenters today? Any questions at all? Hearing none, I will adjourn this meeting of Summit County Commission.